for 30 years. Earl Dawson never once let that bull sleep inside the barn. Not because the barn was full. Not because the bull was mean. Not because Earl forgot. He just never did. And nobody in Harlan County, Kentucky thought twice about it. Old man keeps his bull outside. So what? Bulls are tough. They handle weather. That's what bulls do. But Earl's bull wasn't just standing out in a field somewhere. Every single night, without fail, that Hereford positioned himself at the exact same spot, northwest corner of the property, facing the tree line, back to the barn, like he was guarding something that wasn't there anymore. Earl's wife, Donna, mentioned it once at the feed store, said the bull had been doing it since the week they bought him as a yearling back in '93. 30 years in the same spot. Winter, summer, didn't matter. Rain could be sideways, wind cutting through the valley hard enough to push a man off his feet. That bull stood there. The bull himself was nothing special to look at, just a Hereford. Red body, white face, the standard look you'd see on 1,000 farms across Appalachia. Maybe 1,200 pounds in his prime, though age had thinned him some. His coat was rough in the winters and smooth in the summers, and he had a calm way of moving during the day, slow, deliberate, like a man who's learned there's no point in rushing. But nighttime was different. Nighttime, something shifted in that animal. The calmness turned into something else. Focus. Purpose. He'd stop grazing right around sunset, lift his head, and walk to the northwest corner like he was responding to a call nobody else could hear. Folks in town had theories. Herd instinct, someone said. Territorial behavior, said another. Maybe he smells coyotes coming from that ridge and he's protecting the herd. Old Dale Perkins at the barber shop swore it was a mineral deposit in the soil. Said animals are drawn to certain minerals. Lick spots, he called them. But the bull wasn't licking anything. He was standing, watching, all night. But Earl only ran 3 cows besides the bull. Small operation. Nothing worth protecting with that kind of dedication. And the coyotes came from the South Ridge, not the Northwest. Everyone knew that. And Dale's mineral theory fell apart when the county extension agent came out and tested the soil in that corner. Nothing unusual, just dirt and clay and the limestone that runs under most of Harlan County. Earl never explained it. When people asked, he'd change the subject, talk about hay prices, talk about the weather, talk about anything except why his bull refused to come inside and why he let him stay out there, night after night, year after year. Then Earl turned 78, and his knees gave out for good. The doctor in Harlan told him straight, "You can't work that land anymore, Earl. You need to sell, move closer to town, let your daughter take care of things." Earl sat in that doctor's office like a man hearing his own sentencing. Selling the farm meant selling the cattle meant selling the bull, and selling the bull meant, well, that's where things got complicated. Because Earl's grandson, Tyler, had just come home from 4 years in the Marine Corps. 23 years old, built like a fence post, still carrying the tension of deployment in his shoulders. He'd been back in Kentucky 2 weeks and hadn't slept through a single night. His mother, Karen, Earl's daughter, asked him to help his grandfather prepare the farm for sale, sort through equipment, fix what needed fixing, make the place presentable for buyers. The farm itself was modest even by Harlan County standards. 40 acres tucked into a hollow between 2 ridges, the kind of property that catches morning sun but loses it early in the afternoon. White farmhouse, built in the 50s, sat on a slight rise overlooking the pastures. The barn was red once, now faded to a tired rust color. Out back, a equipment shed leaned slightly east, propped up with a 2x6 that Earl kept saying he'd replace but never did. The fences were wire and post, mended in 100 places over the decades, and the driveway was gravel that turned to mud every spring. It wasn't much, but it was 60 years of Earl's life pressed into the land, every fence post driven by his hands, every hay bale stacked by his back. The place wore his fingerprints the way old tools wear the shape of the man who used them. Tyler agreed to help because he didn't know what else to do with himself. The structure of military life was gone, and civilian mornings felt shapeless and wrong. At least the farm gave him tasks. His first night there, Tyler couldn't sleep. 2 in the morning, he walked out onto the porch with a glass of water and saw the bull, standing in the northwest corner, motionless, staring at the tree line like a soldier on watch. Tyler watched him for a long time. The next morning over coffee, he asked Earl about it. "Grandpa, why doesn't your bull come into the barn at night? Every other animal is inside. He's just out there alone." Earl stirred his coffee slow. "Been doing that since before you were born." "Yeah, but why?" Earl set the spoon down, looked out the kitchen window toward the northwest corner, took a breath like he was about to say something, then didn't. "Some things just are what they are, Tyler." That answer would have satisfied most people. It didn't satisfy Tyler. Something about the way Earl avoided the question, the way his eyes changed when he looked toward that corner of the property. It reminded Tyler of the way guys in his unit would shut down when certain topics came up. Not anger, not sadness, something deeper. Something locked away on purpose. Tyler decided to set up a trail camera. He told Earl he wanted to check for coyotes. Predator management, he called it. Military terminology that made the old man nod without suspicion. Tyler mounted a motion-activated camera on a fence post facing the northwest corner and set it to record continuously from sundown to sunrise. First night, he reviewed the footage on his laptop at the kitchen table. 8 hours compressed into a fast scroll of grainy green night vision. The bull walked to his spot at dusk. Stood there. Didn't move. Didn't graze. Didn't lie down. Just stood, facing the tree line, for the entire night. At 4:17 in the morning, a doe and her fawn crossed through the trees about 60 yards out. The bull watched them pass, didn't react, went back to staring. Tyler frowned. That's not normal herd behavior. That's not territorial. That's vigil. He ran the camera 3 more nights. Same result every time. The bull walked to the spot at dusk, stood facing northwest, and didn't move until dawn. No variation, no interruption. 30 years of this, according to Donna. Tyler started keeping a log, writing down timestamps, noting when the bull arrived at the corner, when he shifted weight, when he looked down, when he looked up. Marine habits, documentation, building a picture from data because emotions were too unreliable. Night 2. Arrival at the corner, 6:14 p.m. Sunset. Stood motionless until 5:31 a.m. 14 hours and 17 minutes. No grazing, no lying down. Night 3. Arrival at 6:09. A raccoon passed within 10 feet of the bull around midnight. The bull didn't flinch, didn't look at it, just kept staring at the tree line. Night 4. Rain. Hard rain, the kind that turns Harlan County hollows into mudslides. Earl's 3 cows were in the barn. The bull was in the corner, water running off his back, pooling around his hooves. Standing. Tyler sat at the kitchen table staring at the screen, and he felt something he hadn't felt since coming home. Not numbness, not anxiety, curiosity. The same sharp focus that kept him alive overseas was now locked onto a question he couldn't answer with binoculars and a rifle. On the 5th night, something different happened. Tyler was reviewing footage at double speed when he caught it. 2:41 in the morning. The bull shifted his weight, lowered his massive head, and pressed his nose against the ground at one specific point. Held it there for almost 3 minutes. Then lifted his head, made a sound the camera's microphone barely picked up, low and sustained, not a bellow, not a warning, something else entirely. Then he went back to standing. Tyler replayed that segment 11 times. The bull wasn't grazing. The ground there was bare dirt, worn down from 3 decades of hooves standing in the same place. He was pressing his nose into the earth, like he was smelling something, or remembering something. Tyler paused the footage on the frame where the bull's nose touched the ground, zoomed in. The dirt looked disturbed in a pattern that wasn't natural erosion, too uniform, too deliberate. The next morning, Tyler walked out to the northwest corner himself. The bull was grazing in the south pasture by then, following his morning routine. Tyler knelt where the camera showed the bull's nose had pressed. The ground was packed hard. 3 decades of a 2,000-pound animal standing in the same spot will do that. But underneath the compacted surface, Tyler's fingers found something. Not rock, not root. Something smooth, flat, buried maybe 4 inches down. He went to the barn, got a hand trowel, came back. Started digging carefully. 6 inches down, the trowel hit metal. A tin box. Old. Rusted at the hinges, but still sealed. About the size of a cigar box, maybe a little bigger. Tyler brushed the dirt away and pulled it free. The weight surprised him. Not heavy like tools or coins. Light, but with the kind of weight that comes from things that matter more than their physical mass. He sat there in the dirt holding the box, and he knew he should take it to Earl. Whatever this was, it belonged to his grandfather. But something stopped him. The way Earl avoided every question about the bull. The way he shut down when the northwest corner came up. Whatever was in this box, Earl had buried it there on purpose, and he'd kept a bull standing over it for 30 years. Tyler brought the box inside and set it on the kitchen table. Earl was in his recliner listening to the radio. When he walked into the kitchen and saw the box on the table, he stopped. His face went through something Tyler had never seen on his grandfather before. Not in 78 years of knowing him as the toughest man in Harlan County. Earl's hands started shaking. Where did you find that? It wasn't a question. It was a reckoning. Northwest corner, Tyler said quietly, where the bull stands. 4 inches down. Earl? What is this? Earl lowered himself into a kitchen chair like his legs had decided they were done holding him up. He stared at the box for a long time. His jaw worked, the way it did when he was fighting something internal. Tyler sat across from him. Waited. You know your Uncle Eli, Earl finally said. Tyler nodded. His mother's brother. Died before Tyler was born. Karen rarely talked about him. When she did, it was brief and painful. Car accident, she'd say. Before you were born. That was always the end of it. Eli didn't die in a car accident, Earl said. The kitchen got very quiet. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the tick of the clock on the wall. He was 22. Same age you were when you enlisted. Came back from the Gulf in 91. First one. Wasn't the same when he got home. Wouldn't talk about what happened over there, wouldn't sleep, wouldn't eat right. Your grandmother and I didn't understand it. Nobody talked about what they call it now. PTSD, Tyler said. Yeah, that. Back then we just thought he needed time. Needed to toughen up. Get back to work. Keep busy. That's what everybody said. Keep him busy and he'll come around. The preacher said it. The neighbors said it. Even the VA office in Lexington said give it time. So we gave it time. 6 months of time. A year. Eli would sit on this porch at 3 a.m, just staring at the dark. Donna would find him walking the fence line before dawn. I'd hear him pacing his room at night, back and forth, like a man trying to walk away from something that followed him everywhere he went. We tried everything we knew. Took him fishing, put him to work on the farm, had him over for Sunday dinner every week. Thought if we could just keep him close, keep him busy, keep him connected to the life he had before, it would be enough. Earl's voice cracked on the word around. He didn't come around. Tyler felt his chest tighten. He knew where this was going. He knew because he recognized every single word Earl was saying. From the inside. November of 92, Earl continued. Eli walked out to the northwest corner of the property, past the barn, past the fence, right to the tree line. Earl stopped talking for a moment, his hands flattened on the table like he needed something solid to hold on to. I found him the next morning. Tyler couldn't speak. The clock kept ticking. Donna and we couldn't tell Karen the truth. She was 16. We told her it was a car accident, told everyone that, buried Eli in the family plot at Mount Pleasant, but I couldn't leave that spot empty, that corner of the property where my boy. Earl opened the tin box. Inside were small things, a brass military pin, a photograph faded and curled, showing a young man in desert fatigue squinting into the sun. A folded letter, handwritten, the paper gone soft from years underground, a dog tag, and a small carved wooden figure of a bull, rough and simple, the kind a kid might whittle on a porch with a pocket knife. Eli carved that when he was 12, Earl said. Always loved the cattle, always said he'd come back from the service and run this place with me. Tyler picked up the carved bull. It fit in his palm. The wood was dark with age, but the shape was clear. A bull standing upright, head forward, solid. I buried that box the day after we put Eli in the ground, Earl said. And then I bought a yearling bull at the Lexington auction, Hereford, young, brought him home and put him in the north pasture. Earl looked toward the window. That bull walked to the northwest corner the first night, stood right over where I buried the box, and he never left that spot at night, not once, not in 30 years. I never trained him to do it, never led him there. He just went. Tyler felt something break open in his chest. Not pain exactly. Recognition. You think the bull knows? Tyler asked. I don't know what the bull knows, Earl said. I don't know if animals sense things we can't explain, or if it's coincidence, or if God put him there to stand watch because I couldn't do it myself every night. I just know that every evening when that bull walks to the corner and faces those trees, my boy isn't alone out there. They sat in silence for a while. The kind of silence that isn't empty. The kind that's so full it pushes against the walls. Tyler finally asked, Is that why you won't sell? Earl wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. The farm, the bull, that corner. It's all connected. If I sell this place, some developer or hobby farmer buys it, they'll bulldoze that corner. Put up a garage or a fence or God knows what. In Eli's spot, it just becomes dirt again. Nobody standing over it. Nobody keeping watch. Tyler understood then why his grandfather's knees giving out felt like more than a medical problem. It wasn't just losing the ability to work. It was losing the ability to protect the one thing he'd spent 30 years protecting. And the bull, Tyler said. What happens to him? Earl's face crumbled. Just for a second. Then he rebuilt it, the way men of his generation were taught to do. He's 31 years old, Tyler. Herefords don't usually make it past 18, maybe 20. The vet says he's the oldest one she's ever seen. His joints are bad. He's losing weight. But every single night, he walks to that corner, and he stands there until morning, like he made a promise. Tyler didn't sleep that night either, but for different reasons than usual. He sat on the porch and watched the bull in the moonlight, standing in the northwest corner, facing the tree line, guarding a tin box that held the remains of a life that ended too soon, in a way nobody wanted to talk about, in an era that didn't know how. And Tyler saw himself out there, not literally, but he recognized the stance, the vigil, the refusal to leave a post even when the mission is over, the inability to come inside and rest when something keeps pulling you back to the place where everything went wrong. He called his mother the next morning. Mom, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Did Uncle Eli die in a car accident? The silence on the line told him everything. Then Karen started crying. The kind of crying that's been held back for 30 years. Who told you? Grandpa. Last night. I found the box, Mom. More crying. Then, in a voice that sounded like a teenager again, I was 16, Tyler. They told me it was a car accident and I believed them because I had to. But I always knew. Deep down. The way Dad would go quiet when Eli's name came up. The way Mom would leave the room. I couldn't make myself ask. Tyler gripped the phone. Mom, I need help. Silence. Not like Eli, not like that. But I haven't slept. I can't turn it off. The things I saw over there. I keep standing watch even when there's nothing to watch for. I'm doing exactly what that bull does. Standing in one spot all night because I don't know how to come inside. Karen's voice went very steady. Very clear. The way a mother's voice gets when her child says the thing she's been terrified to hear. Tyler Allen Dawson, you listen to me. You are not your uncle. You are not going to that corner. We are going to get you help, and we are going to do it today. Not next week. Not when you're ready. Today. Tyler closed his eyes. Okay. Karen drove to Harlan County that afternoon. She brought with her a name and number for a VA counselor in Lexington who specialized in combat veterans. She also brought something Tyler didn't expect: the courage to finally have the conversation with Earl that 30 years of silence had prevented. That evening, 3 generations sat in Earl's kitchen, the tin box open on the table between them. Karen spoke first. "Daddy, I know about Eli. I've known for a long time, and I'm not angry that you lied to me. I understand why you did it. But Tyler is struggling with the same things Eli struggled with, and I will not lose my son the way you lost yours. Not because we're too proud or too scared to say the words out loud." Earl looked at his daughter, then at his grandson, then at the little carved wooden bull sitting on the table. "I kept that bull outside for 30 years because I thought standing guard was enough, keeping watch, making sure the spot was never alone. But you can't fix what happened to Eli by having a bull stand over his memory, and you can't fix what's happening to Tyler by staying quiet about it." Earl reached across the table and put his hand on Tyler's arm. "Your uncle needed help and nobody knew how to give it to him. That's not going to happen to you. Not while I'm breathing." Tyler started seeing the VA counselor the following week. Twice a week, the drive to Lexington took an hour each way, and Earl insisted on going with him every single time. Sat in the waiting room reading farming magazines while Tyler talked to someone who understood what deployment does to a person's nervous system. The counselor's name was Dr. Weston, former Army herself. She didn't talk to Tyler like he was broken. She talked to him like he was a machine that had been running in combat mode for so long that nobody had shown him where the off switch was. "Your brain is doing exactly what it was trained to do," she told him in their second session, scanning for threats, maintaining perimeter awareness, refusing to stand down. "The problem isn't that something's wrong with you. The problem is that everything is working exactly right for a war zone, and you're not in a war zone anymore." Tyler told her about the bull, about standing on the porch at 2 a.m. watching a Hereford keep vigil over a patch of dirt, about recognizing himself in an animal that couldn't stop standing watch. Dr. Weston leaned forward. "You see the parallel?" "Yeah, I see it. The bull can't come inside because something won't let him leave that spot. You can't sleep because something won't let you stop scanning. Same mechanism. Different species. It wasn't fast. It wasn't easy." Tyler had nights where the porch was the only place he could breathe, and he'd sit there watching the bull in the moonlight, 2 sentinels keeping watch over different wars. But slowly, something shifted. Tyler started sleeping 4 hours, then 5, then 6. The counselor taught him techniques that Tyler recognized as similar to things his unit used to manage stress in combat. Except now they were being used to manage peace, which turned out to be harder in its own way. 3 months after finding the box, Tyler made a decision. He told Earl he wanted to buy the farm. Earl stared at him. "You want to what?" "Buy the farm. Keep it running. You can't work it anymore, and Karen's in Lexington. But I'm here. I need something to do with my hands. I need a reason to get up in the morning that isn't just surviving another day. And that bull isn't going to stand out there alone. Not if I can help it." Earl's eyes filled up. "You're not buying this farm because of the bull?" "No." Tyler's voice was steady now, in a way it hadn't been 3 months ago. "I'm buying it because this is where our family's story is. The good parts and the terrible parts. And somebody needs to be here to hold all of it, not just stand guard over it, but actually live with it." Earl sold Tyler the farm for $1. The lawyer in town said it was the simplest land transfer he'd ever processed. That spring, Tyler did something Earl never expected. He walked out to the northwest corner with a small brass marker, the kind you see at military grave sites. He pressed it into the ground right where the bull stood every night. It read, "PFC Eli James Dawson, 1969 to 1992. He stood watch so we didn't have to. Rest now." The bull sniffed the marker that evening, pressed his nose against the brass the same way he'd pressed it into the dirt for 3 decades. Then he walked to his spot and stood. But Tyler noticed something different that night. The bull was still in the northwest corner, still facing the tree line. But he wasn't standing anymore. For the first time in 30 years, he was lying down. Tyler sat on the porch and watched the old Hereford settle into the grass, his massive body finally resting in the spot he'd guarded since before Tyler was born. And Tyler understood that some things aren't about explanations or logic or animal behavior science. Some things are just about showing up, night after night, year after year, standing in the place where someone you loved took their last breath. Because leaving feels like forgetting. And sometimes, the only way to finally rest is when someone else shows up and says, "I'll take it from here." Tyler called the farm's real estate listing agent the next morning and canceled the sale. Then he called Karen. "Mom, the farm's not going anywhere. I'm staying." She was quiet for a moment. Then, "What about the bull?" Tyler looked out the window. The old Hereford was grazing in the south pasture. Slow, stiff, 31 years old and still moving. He's staying too. As long as he's got breath in him, he's got a home. The bull died 11 months later. Peaceful, lying in the northwest corner on a Tuesday morning in early March. The vet said his heart just stopped. No pain, no struggle. He was lying in his spot, facing the tree line, the brass marker 2 feet from his nose. Tyler buried him right there. Didn't move the body to a backfield like most ranchers would. Dug the hole himself, by hand, because a backhoe felt wrong for this. Earl came out and stood at the edge of the grave. Didn't say a word. Just took off his hat and held it against his chest while Tyler covered the bull with Kentucky dirt. When it was done, Earl put his hat back on. "That bull did what I couldn't do for my son. Stood with him every night, never left, never complained, never asked why. He just showed up." Earl looked at Tyler. "And then you showed up. And now maybe I can stop carrying this alone." Tyler put his arm around his grandfather's shoulders. Neither of them spoke. They didn't need to. 2 months later, Tyler brought home a young Hereford bull from the same Lexington auction where Earl had bought the original 31 years before. Yearling, red and white, strong legs, clear eyes. He put the young bull in the north pasture and waited to see what would happen. That first evening, the yearling walked the perimeter, sniffed the fence posts, explored the water trough. Normal young bull behavior, investigating new territory. Then he stopped. Northwest corner, right where the old bull used to stand, right where the brass marker sat in the ground, right where Eli's box was still buried underneath. The yearling lowered his head, sniffed the ground, and stood there, facing the tree line. Tyler watched from the porch. His hands were steady. His breathing was even. For the first time in a long time, he didn't need to keep watch. Someone else had taken the post. Earl saw it too, from the kitchen window. He didn't say anything, just nodded once, slow, like something had been confirmed that he'd always suspected but never dared to believe. Some things can't be explained, and maybe they don't need to be. Maybe they just need to be honored. Tyler never sold the farm. He runs it to this day. 30 head of cattle now, up from Earl's original 3. The VA counselor still sees him once a month. He sleeps through most nights. And every evening, when the light goes golden and the shadows stretch long across Harlan County, there's a bull standing in the northwest corner, facing the tree line, keeping watch. Not because anyone trained him to. Not because there's a threat out there. But because some promises don't need words, and some posts are never truly abandoned. Earl passed away 2 years after Tyler took over the farm, 80 years old, in his sleep. Karen found a note in his bedside drawer that he'd written the night Tyler canceled the farm sale. It said, "The bull stood watch for Eli. Tyler stood watch for me." Maybe that's what family is. Not the people who fix you, but the ones who refuse to leave the corner. Tyler framed the note and hung it in the kitchen, next to the window that faces the northwest corner. And every night, when the bull takes his position, Tyler turns off the kitchen light, looks out that window, and whispers the same thing. "I'm still here." The bull stands. The wind moves through the trees. and in Harlan County, Kentucky, on 40 acres that almost got sold to strangers. The watch continues.